Hi everyone, welcome to Enzo D'Alessandro Hairdressing. I'm Enzo D'Alessandro, and today we're going to be looking through our salon, going through a step-by-step haircut and something exciting for our new summer looks for the season. Started about 20 years ago, culminated in salons from Mosman Park, Subiaco, now we're in Fremantle exclusively, about 5 years. I'm a national educator for Corral, which takes me around the world as well internationally. Last year we had a beautiful opportunity to visit Italy, Vasto, as part of the Corral International Stylistic team. So that's one good thing about being Corral. It's an international company. We get beautiful opportunity with this product line. And thanks to our distributors, DHS Salon Supplies, we are quite integral with sharing this product and education throughout Australia and Western Australia. One thing I do like to know, it's not about doing a haircut, it's not about hairdresser, it's not about clients, it's not about shows and all this lovely stuff that we like to do. It's actually about solving problems for our clients, and I'm looking forward to today to bringing us through a new seasonal look. Coming from winter where things seem to be a bit heavy, and we're going to give our lovely lady Jules today a nice summer haircut, matched with an easy to look after colour and cut. Every single client for me is unique, and it ties in with our ethos of a tailored creation, an evolving experience crafted through education hands. What happens for me when a client does come in, it's not about the haircut, it's not about the colour, it's about total image creation. All of our clients, we've got to give them an image. That is the end product, okay? It's not about, just the way that a bottle of shampoo or a bottle of styling product is a product, so is the client's end look. It is a fashion accessory that they cannot take off if they don't like it, okay? So we have to work with them, and actually we educate them on where looks are going to go. So I like to create something that isn't happening a lot just yet, because you don't want your clients, it's like walking into a room and your best friend's got the same dress as you want. We need to create individual looks for our clients so they tie in. For instance, if I want to create a lot of texture with a haircut, I'm going to back that up with a lot of texture to the colour, with multiple colours or the way the colour overlays on top of another colour. It doesn't have to be, things should be simple, because creating something simple is not easy. But the more simpler you can get something, I believe the more beautiful it's going to be. We're going to travel through an education series over the next 12 months or so, and you'll learn a bit more what we're about and what we're trying to pass on. And it is about giving something to your clients, which means that you have to have the tools that you can create personalised looks and constantly evolve your client base as well. Take your client on a journey, basically, not just give them a haircut that we're happy with that they can't do at home. So, for instance, today we're going to be taking Jules on a little bit of a journey from a heavier haircut, and we're going to go into a spring-summer look. So a lot about taking away weight, creating movement, creating texture, and through the step-by-step you're going to see how we actually create that. It's important for us to pass on this trade, to teach the ones coming through. And it's not just about learning a haircut, it's about learning concepts so that we can manipulate and create and evolve a concept rather than just teaching one haircut that is impossible to do on every single client, okay? So it's about learning the concept, and then you've got the tools that you can actually create what you need to on your client to make it easy for them. It's very important that they come away from your salon doing their own hair in the way that they want to, making their life easier. Our job is not to make their lives harder, okay? So work with your clients, with your staff, and deliver, I think, what I hope to share also is the language that we use when we're cutting hair, so you can actually pass on a technique rather than just guessing on how you're going to cut the hair. It's a really concrete way of delivering knowledge and delivering a haircut, delivering colour technique, and then combining it to make an image for your client. Haircutting is scary. Haircutting is the craft. It's like being a carpenter. You measure, you measure twice, you cut once. There's no point. Too often we see people cutting hair and they don't really know where the haircut's going. They're starting a haircut not knowing where it's going to finish. In my eyes, it's like getting into a car and driving somewhere. If you don't have a destination, you're going to be driving in circles, right? And confidence is moving slowly, but finishing quickly. So if you know where you're going, knowledge equals confidence. You can't be confident if you don't have the knowledge, right? So I hope that you come on this journey with me, because it is important that you get educated, because it's important for the industry, because we will pass on the trade more, the industry will get stronger if we all share our knowledge. It's not to be kept. So a nice little analogy, an educator is like a candle. So whilst it's consuming itself, it's delivering light for everybody else. So it's very important that we all learn to become educators a little bit, because we've got to share the knowledge on. It's no good for one or two people to pass it on. And I think what I am trying to do is simplify techniques, not make it harder. So the simpler techniques I can deliver to to you guys at home is something that you can bring straight back into the salon. Even if it's just one thing tomorrow, I believe that whatever we show you today is simple enough to put on the client tomorrow if you've already got some cutting skills as well. Just remember, cutting is the craft. Hair coloring can be fixed tomorrow. If you don't like it, you can change it today, change it tomorrow. But let's get away from hairdressers saying that they're either a colorist or a hair cutter. You're not a colorist because you can't cut hair. A colorist brings a cut to life. Someone like Annie Humphreys in the Sassoon days. But if we're going to be colorists, let's make sure we get the education to become strong colorists. But the hair cutting is a craft. You'll hold your client, and it's like being a carpenter. You actually are constructing something. So let's understand that before you start anything, you must know where the haircut's going to finish. Okay? You can't build a house without a foundation. So the foundation's first, the roof gets put on last. And I hope that we'll see that step by step as what we cut here today. It's quite a simple haircut, but it's quite beautiful in the sense that it'll be simple, very wearable, and it's a haircut that you can swap and change some of the techniques within it to make 10 different haircuts. The essence of this color is a very natural, low maintenance. We're working with our model, getting away from just foil. So we've put some beautiful freehand painted blonde splashes throughout the hair. We did do a glaze with the Barco color splash, yellow. We did 1 part yellow with 4 parts neutral. And now I'm just glazing it over to get a nice summery glow. Getting away from those flat blonde looks that girls have been wearing for too many years now, because warmer colors reflect more light. Ash colors always look a bit flatter, and you really want a nice halo effect, a nice glow for summer. Brighten girls up. Haircut starts with preparation. So basically the first thing I'm going to do is prepare the hair properly. I'm going to put a leave-in conditioner in. So we're using the Purifier leave-in, which will help also create a little bit of body to the hair, because when we finish, in mind I know I want a bit of body, a bit of movement to the hair. So I'm already selecting products that will help me with my finished result. So the first step of applying a styling product is to prepare the hair properly as well. And also, it's important to see with the hair combed down, it's quite a solid haircut. It's important to understand cutting structures and how we're going to lighten this from a heavy structure, i.e. a solid form, one length haircut, to a progressive layer, which has a lot more movement vertically, and you'll see that weight come out. It's actually, hair cutting is about the construction and distribution of weight. It's not two-dimensionally length and width, okay? Also going to put a bit of the Style Perfetto primer. Even though we're going to be messing the hair up later on, this is beautiful to seal up the cuticle, give it a little bit of shine. And also, as we're cutting through the hair, we keep the hair with a consistent moisture as we're going through the haircut. Because what it is important to realize, if the hair is drying at different rates as we're cutting it, you're not going to get a true natural fall as we get to different stages of the haircut. I'm not one to wet hair down as we're going along. I'll be touched again after this. Proper distribution. Another important thing about a pre-cutting agent is the control as a hairstylist that we get. We have more control over the hair once we start cutting. Okay. Now I'm going to just wipe my hands and we'll get into some. I'm going to set the hair up now for the haircut. So I'm going to comb it out to its natural fall. And this is a very important moment to get in contact, connection with the hair, not just with your client, to what the hair's doing. Feel it. We work with the hair. I like to see where the hair's growing. I don't force the hair to go where it doesn't want to go. Each area has an important function. So it's important that the hair that belongs in the area of the head that it lives in stays there. So the most important part of a haircut is all the work you do before you put the scissors in. Excuse me, Jules, my apologies, but we are looking for a natural fall. And just remember that the head is spherical, so hair grows spherically around the head. It doesn't grow backwards. About 80% of the time on a longer haircut, I do separate the fringe area out because we don't want to be cutting in that now. So I'm just making sure I get the correct proportion. a little bit. And you know when you've got the right amount of fringe in the hair. The fringe is basically, on average, about the width of your lady's outside of her eyes. And if you just watch how we comb the hair, it'll separate without me drawing a line into it. So I'm going to comb in the direction that the hair grows, and you'll see that, boom, it opens up nice and cleanly there without me having to make my own proportion up. That's actually the proportion of Jude's hair. That's how much hair wants to be in her fringe. And when I say fringe, it is the hair at the front. Doesn't mean it's short or long. Try not to use clips where we don't need to, because as it dries, you'll just have a demarcation line in the hair otherwise. So, first thing we're going to do is separate internally to externally. So the internal part of the hair has a different role to perform than the external. And we're going to use a lovely technique, which I call pyramid layering. So we'll have inverted pyramids going around the head, so the layers can actually flow short to long, and you'll see what I mean as we get into that. I'm just going to have a little rough guide where I separate anterior to posterior, front to back, just to get an idea of proportion. Again, you'll see me always separating quite naturally. Just like a little tick in the hair, beautiful. And what we're looking for, that point, is to just tease the external sphere of the scalp. So not too deep, otherwise it'll suffocate what we want to do afterwards. So bring all the hair up. So I'm imagining a horizontal line coming across, and I'm bringing the hair right up to that imaginary horizontal line. And taking my first indication of length. This is the internal layering, so I can see where the hair's going to start to fall. This is not our lady's length, this is the internal layering. Beautiful. So as you can see, the hair that travels from the scalp to my cutting point is shorter than the hair that travels from the point of the separation to my cutting point. So we have a nice combination of shorter layers that goes into long layers. And we won't get a horrible weight line going across the head this way. We'll get a nice flow in a way. We can't see where the layers start or stop. It's a beautiful technique, this one. And because the scalp does drop back in the middle, my center point should be deeper than the first separation. And it's important to understand that this proportion will be different on every single person, because every single person has different scalp proportion. Have to clean that up a little bit there. The other thing with this technique, you never let go of the hair. You won't find it again. So it's very important to keep the hair I've cut in my hands. Nice and soft with the scissors. And again, we're entering the anterior of the head, and there's much less massive hair here, so our little triangle should be smaller. And as I get to the front here, I'm just going to cut. I've been cutting with a horizontal cutting line. Now I'm just going to cut with an external diagonal, just to soften that line a little bit more, and the layers will become a little bit longer to the front. Again, don't let go of that hair. Just come around there, sorry about that. And hair cutting should be quite dynamic. You should be moving around your client's head, not staying in one spot. A bit like being a videographer, eh? There we go. Make sure we're nice and clean. So it is simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy. You just need a lot of control. Using the line from the previous cutting guide, done. So that's all of the internal finished. So we're just going to wrap that up and we'll forget about that for a while. Now, if you can see, I don't know if you can take like a higher little level there, it is an internal separation. We're just using that normal circular guide, but we're teasing it with points. So there's hair that's deeper coming in to hair that's shallower. So we don't have just one type of weight that is falling from the top of the head. Okay, internal done. We're going to switch to the posterior external now. We're going to separate anterior to posterior, so front to back, and a slight diagonal, and just keep that clean. Very important to understand the proportions, because proportion controls how much hair is in an area you're working with, how much weight is going to be there. If the portion is too big, you're going to suffocate the hair, it won't perform. If it's too small, you will lose control. And a slight diagonal. I'm actually going to build the perimeter line purely by projection. We're not going to cut a straight line at all because we want this to be moving. It makes no sense to block it with a solid line. So we're going to separate vertically in the center. Nice clean guide. Just slightly forward, Jules, thank you so much. We're going to project straight out from the head, so I'm imagining a vertical line sitting here, so technically I'm going to be perpendicular to an imaginary vertical line, forming a T, it's sometimes called. Vertical line. So I'm just going to check I'm happy with that length. Okay, I'm going to bring that up a touch more. Perfect. Okay, now we're just going to follow that around to the side of the head. However, instead of a mobile cutting line, we're going to be semi-fixed. So we're just going to be pulling out, directing the hair straight back, not to a fixed cutting point, in between fixed and in between mobile, sorry, and that is called a semi-fixed cutting line. It is built with a nice feathered line compared to what we had there before, quite solid. We're also creating a lot of shape, so a lot of volume is going to build now as we come up towards the head, top of the head. Repeat on the other side. Again, vertical cutting line, straight down. We're creating progressive layers. Okay, step one done. Again, once we've cut a section, we just forget about it, it's done. This here, now we're going to create some more texture. We're going to overlay on our base. On the previous section, we cut with a vertical cutting line and we come straight up from the head. I wanted to create more roundness and more body as we get to the top of the head. So I'm going to elevate, because elevation lightens the cutting structure. So I'm going to project the hair perpendicular to the scalp, almost like a uniform cutting layer, but we're going to cut with an external diagonal cutting line. So it's actually a light progressive layer. So we can control the progressive layer's weight by its elevation. Boom. And I know where I want the hair to sit. I'm not using the bottom section as a cutting guide at all. We're cutting with proportion as a guide. I'm just going to work around the head with a mobile cutting line. There we go, make sure you can see your line. Diagonal, external. So the hair's getting longer towards the perimeter. We're texturizing and lightening the hair as we put in our cut instruction, rather than cutting too much at the end of the haircut. And the reason why I'm moving down now, because I'm moving down with the shape of the scalp. Otherwise, I'm not being perpendicular to the scalp. And now we'll just follow that on the other side. Okay, posterior is done. And every section we do is because it has a purpose. All right, now we move on to the anterior, the front of the head. We're just freeing up the sides. It's a slight elevation with the scalp. I took a little bit of that back hair just so I can create a little fixed cutting point. There we go. And we can cut diagonal externally, which is, again, progressive layers, freeing up the hair. And we're going to bring all this to a fixed cutting point. So we're actually getting longer and slightly heavier layers to the front. So that allows us to just to move that hair with some volume, beautiful. And of course the fringe is still out. So the front of the hair, we've still got that left out. I'll swap to the other side, exactly the same movement. All brought back to the same point. Okay, so all we have left to do now is the hair that's in the fringe area. And we treat that separately because it's got a separate role to perform. All right, so we're going to have a fringe here that we want Jules to wear any way she wants. So I'm really just going to move some weight to it at the moment. And you'll see me cutting back into that when it's dry. We'll dry that up later on and we'll do some finishing touches to the whole haircut. The fringe is something we're going to play with a little bit. So I'm going to cut a bit of a heavier fringe, and we've got the cutting structure technique is going to be a graduation. We're going to cut it with a lot of length so it gives it a looseness to the structure. And we're also going to cut it with a bit of a tease cut so the ends are quite soft. And all that means is I'm cutting a diagonal internal angle, but I'm going to cut underhand and just slight slide to the cut. Boom. And everything is going to be brought back to that point. So positioning of your body here is important because this is the only, you'd have to stand where I'm standing right now on the inside, otherwise you won't get that line correct. You can't cut freehand in that manner. Okay. So now we can comb all that star section or pyramid section on top straight down, and we're going to draw it up, and we're going to take a few pieces away just to personalize the haircut. But so far we can see from the structure that we had at the beginning to where we got now, it's a much looser form, and the color will start to work now with Jules's internal hair color, creating texture against the nice honey summery tone that we've got throughout, which will come to life as we dry it up now as well. But what we want to have is a nice little beachy look here. And because of the proportion, we're not taking guides from the previous section to the top section, because that's a one-dimensional haircut. You're always going to be limited if all you use is indication of length for hair cutting. What we're doing is using proportion, because each different part of the head has a different role to serve. We can get much more personalized haircuts. So let's get to the drying process. How you feel?
Perfect.
Great. No tease is always good. Look at that, looks nice.
Beautiful.
So that fringe, we can go both ways with that, okay? All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of the beachy hair. We're going to use a nice sea salt spray. It's going to be really, really natural look. Again, we want our clients to be able to do their own hair, not just come in with all our round brushes and tongs and things like that. Okay. What I love about the beachy hair salt spray is that for sure I can scrunch this hair, get your beachy look happening, but it's also fantastic if you want to smooth and straighten the hair out for a lot of body, a lot of guts. Similar to how when the hair's dry, we use dry shampoo. Okay. It's a bit of a root boosting spray now. Back in with our diffuser. Might be the hairspray, a bit of diffuser for more expansion, and we're done. Beautiful. I will show you back, I promise. Looks much better, like that. There we go. All right, so the way I styled it, I pushed it back up so it gives it a concave look. If you don't push it up, it'll just come down to one level. I'll show you that now. That's a lovely wave. There you go. And that just, you could just push that up, but this will also just drop all down to about that perimeter length. And you won't, see how you can't see where the layers stop and start? That's it's a natural look, although it's unnaturally constructed, okay? Hi everyone, we're back here with a finished product. So basically we'll start with the color. We took diagonal separations and we painted in nice little V's a freehand balayage, all three. We light with Barco and 20 volume, Barco cream bleach. Love working with Barco cream bleach. Once we finished with the bleaching out, we dried the hair off and we just coated it with Color Splash yellow. So nice little summery glaze, and that's brought the hair to life. Bit of a warmer tone, but nice and bright, getting away from that flat grey look that we've been happening the last couple of years, all the platinum looks that the blondes are getting. Then really this has been done with no brushes. You can see this lovely texture that Jules has got now with the natural colour and the artificial colour working together. We used a bit of a sea salt spray, the beachy sea salt spray, and we finished with some Express just to give us a nice little messy volume in the hair as well. So everyone, if you like what you see, hit subscribe, hit the like button, check the comments below for the full description of the look for today and for many more to come.